So this is a video that I didn't want to have to do, but as usual, the man has prompted me to do, because once again he spouts more BS and crap. So according to Tomlinson, karma is a bitch, as they say. And for all the people who ever doubted our integrity and honesty but chose to follow the con man, see below. This was a post that he put out earlier today. But as usual, he posts something to make himself, one, look like victim, two, that he's best thing since sliced bread, and three, more importantly, he did it to make it look like I've actually done something wrong in the court's eyes. But of course, nothing could be further from the truth. He posted an email from his solicitor with the results of a court order. But again, failed to say what the context of this was, wanted to make it look like he was in the right all along. And continues to call me a con man when the biggest irony of everything and of all is that there is no bigger con man and scumbag in the pigeon sport than Gary Tomlinson and his family. No bigger scumbag or con man. So I wanted to set the record straight as to exactly what that pathetic little, for people to see him as the victim and as the savior or whatever this week he wants to see himself as, is actually about. Without going through everything, Gary Tomlinson never paid me a penny for all the work I did for him back in 2019, 2020. Not a penny. He can keep saying to everybody, I paid him, I paid him, I paid him. The man is dumb enough to go on live video showing me he never honored his agreement to pay me by putting pigeons in in his race. He is that dumb that he actually went and said, here's the proof that the pigeons were in the race. And then 4 minutes later, I took the pigeons out of the race. Yes, we're dealing with a man that is that dumb. That's admitted he never paid me because he never put the pigeons in the race, offered me cash settlements. But if he thought he paid me, why would you offer me cash settlements that were too low? So remember, before I start this is all about between 4 and 5 grand the man owed me for the work, considerable work that I'd done. An amount that up until he started coming after me for more BS, I'd never pursued, because it's just not worth pursuing 4 or 5 grand in the courts. Instead, I chose to show what this man's really like. So here's the record. I did all the work for him. He never paid me. He gave me a bunch of hassle in between. He never gave my son 7 pigeons. You've heard it all before. Then I was approached by the Sullivan brothers to help them with their race. Gary didn't like that. Gary found out about leaflet that I was doing for them, disposed of all of them in Doncaster, then started issuing threats because a leaflet that I'd done for the British Masters was similar to what I did for him. The same leaflet that he never to this day paid me for. Contacted the British Master. They said, Mark's done the work for us, speak to him. 4 days later, High Court claim for £50,000, claiming all kinds of rubbish about a leaflet. A few weeks later, in addition to that court case, I get a defamation claim hand served to me for the Ask Tomo site. Previously, remember, he hates the Ask Tomo site because it does speak truth. There's nothing up there that's not right, correct. And it's a site that he's had many people, including the police twice, tried to get the RPRA involved, now got the High Court involved. So I had 2 court cases that he came after me, and in the case of the court case with the copyright stuff, he went after the Sullivan's brothers as well. £50,000 for a leaflet. This is the hard man that decides to do things the old way, minor way, and all that crap he keeps spouting. But it goes and puts a high court claim against 5 of us, me, my company, their company, and them. Then, because the Sullivans have got a lot to lose, they begrudgingly, and I think under bad advice from their solicitors, settle for £8,500. Now, don't forget, I had the proof they settled. They hadn't done anything wrong, but in their situation with a lot to lose, people relying on them in their businesses, hundreds of people relying on them, they were advised to just get out of the way because it would have cost them a lot to fight. They would have won it. It was ridiculous. And Gary, instead of just accepting that, went and lied an hour later on his live show saying, we're fine, there's never been any problem. Complete lies. And remember the video where I showed it was complete lies. A proven liar, this man, a proven liar. Didn't go down very well. So the case against them was finished. And then I carried on with the case because it was a point of principle. The man had never paid me for the work. So how could you even claim copyright on a leaflet that I'd done that was similar to theirs? He came along with all this crap about people are confused. He got all of his mates to email saying, I'm confused. Are you involved in the British Masters? All of this stuff. BS, bullshit. Con man. Like I said, the irony is he calls me a con man, where there's no bigger con man in the pigeon sport than Gary Tomlinson and family. So the British Masters begrudgingly paid because of the situation. I said all along I wouldn't have done it, but I didn't have lawyers dealing with it, charging me a lot of money an hour. I was dealing with it myself, different situation. I think in retrospect now with what's happened, they regret doing that. I carried on. We get to the 15th of June. We have a virtual court hearing, and the judge, it was embarrassing to listen. The high-flying, hotshot trademark attorney Aaron Wood that Gary Tomlinson had got involved with couldn't answer the judge when they said, what part of the copyright of this image are you actually contesting? Couldn't answer it. It was embarrassing. Gary Tomlinson only met Aaron Wood because of the joint connection between Aaron Wood and Lois Tomlinson. Lois Tomlinson, she should have been Lois Tomlinson, but she wasn't. No, it's not behind us, Ron. I tried to put it behind me, but Ron Fewins, he's spouting a load of rubbish about what's happened today, so I'm setting the record straight. No, Ronald Jackson, I didn't leave the number on that banner. No, that was another completely separate thing. That had nothing to do with the case. So get your facts straight, Ronald Jackson, the biggest arse licker known to man of Gary Tomlinson. I've seen the stuff you wrote. You're full of shit, mate. Crack on. So, back to the situation. The 92 people watching this, bear with me. So, I've carried on. 15th of June, it was embarrassing. And miraculously, after they got their asses kicked in front of the judge, carry on was quite interesting. Because 3 days later, about a week later actually, all mention of Lois Ryan, Rob Tomlinson's new fiancée-to-be, disappeared. She was the one that got Aaron Wood involved with Tomlinson. She was probably the one that said, you can beat this guy, fed him a load of info based on what probably Tomlinson had said he'd paid me and whatever. They're supposed to be getting married on Saturday. It's not happening. They're at Doncaster show instead, whatever happened there. But she was definitely the link with this Aaron Wood hotshot lawyer who was made to be a complete fool in this hearing. I digress. Carry on. So then we get the pressure on from the solicitors about the defamation. I said, we'll go to court. We'll go to court. They try to settle, we'll drop it, we'll all walk away, we'll go to court. I said, we'll go to court. Both. An hour after I said we'll go to court on both, this is after they got their ass kicked in June, they dropped both of the cases. They dropped both of the cases because the solicitors said to Tomlinson, it's going to cost you 40, 50, 60 grand to go with the defamation case. And he said, I'm not doing it. Backed out. I then decided, well, I'll carry on with my counterclaim. Now, I made a counterclaim for the initial money he owed me, plus the DVD money he never paid me. I only ever made a counterclaim in reaction to his initial crap claim High Court that he put on the 24th of December against me. I never went after him for the money he owed me because it's not worth it. But the counterclaim had already been paid for, already gone in. So I kept with it. Then, on the judge's recommendation, it goes to the small claims part of the court. And Aaron Wood and Tomlinson did not want that at all. Why didn't they want that? Because they couldn't claim any solicitor's cost if it went to the small claims track. And they were being dicks, as they have been the whole process, and they were resisting going through it, going to the small claims. And it was going to cost me a couple of grand just to get it into the small claims court. And this is against a company, Who Dares Wins Alfreton Limited, that's got no money, got a negative balance sheet, and that the equal scumbag Rob Tomlinson now is the shareholder of. So I thought to myself about 5 weeks ago, I'm like, what's the point? I'm sick of having to see what the con man scumbag says every week on his show. I don't want the man in my life anymore. If I do win, which I'm 90% sure I would have won, and I'm 90% sure because he thought I was going to win, he put out there on live that he took my pigeons out of the race, which was admitting he never paid me. And within days of that happening and me putting the transcript into his solicitor of that, he started saying to everybody, the stud pigeons are all Annette's, and he started transferring the race over to his son. He was very worried about him owning anything and me being able to get it. That's how scared he was about me winning. But from my point of view, if I went and spent a couple more thousand getting it to the small claims court and getting £5,000 or £10,000 judgment, then all I've got is a claim against a company that got a balance sheet of £81. You're never going to get any money. And I said, you know what, life's too short. This man's been in my life for 3 years now. Enough's enough. And I made a decision coming back up the M5 after spending a great weekend with some really nice, inspirational people. You know what? I'm done. And I dropped the case. Then I get a £7,700 solicitor's request for the costs associated with fighting the counterclaim of Aaron Wood. I'm like, hang on a minute. Nobody told me I could claim costs for all the crap you put me through for the last months. Fast forward, the judge says you need to put your counterclaim, you need to put your claim for costs against the other two cases in. But here's the catch. Aaron Wood can charge £500 an hour. As a litigant in person, acting on my own, I charge £19 an hour. We'd logged most of our time. We went through all the emails, logged our time, hundreds of hours spent on this BS. And we put a claim in for about £1,000. A lot of hours, about 300 plus hours. And we then got the judgment back today. What Tomlinson loves to put out there as if I've done something wrong and he's the winner. Well, here's the harsh reality. He dropped both cases against me. And again, I'm not for them, but the Sullivan brothers, seeing he dropped the cases against me, I think they regret their solicitor's advice in even entertaining paying them the prick a single penny. But all his solicitor saying, we're going to win this case, we're going to win this case, at the end of it, they dropped both of the cases. I dropped my counterclaim because life's too short. But Aaron Wood's solicitor's claim is £7,700 for dealing with a counterclaim because it's £500 an hour. Mine's £19 an hour. I was hoping the judge who said previously on the 15th of June, this seems to be an issue of non-payment on my part, I've not got paid. I thought he would think, we'll cancel them both out and there's nothing to pay. But unfortunately, the judge has said I owe the scumbag conman twat £4,620. Let's see how that goes. And that's it. I've done nothing wrong. Nothing was proven. He's not won. It's simply his equal scumbag solicitor charging £7,700 to him and me having to pay a portion of it after knocking off my costs, which are only £19 an hour. That's what it is. It's as simple as that. So he can pretend that he's won, that, what did he say? Karma's a bitch for all the people that ever doubted our integrity and honesty, but chose to follow the con man. See below. All it is a cost issue. Unfortunately, his solicitor was charging £500 an hour. Part of me regrets dropping the case because I'm 90% sure I would have won because I had all the evidence that he never paid me. But at the same time, that would have been another 12 to 18 months out of my life, like I said earlier. For what? 5 or 10 grand? And then I'm never going to be able to collect it because Who Dares Wins Alfreton Limited has a negative balance sheet. Go and work that out. A race that's brought in nearly £1 million since it's been going, it's got a negative balance sheet. And that's it. The judge hasn't said anything other than, yeah, there's £4,600 of cost to pay. Let's see how that works, like I said. That's it. No, I've done anything wrong. No, he was right all along. Yes, people are right to doubt his integrity and honesty, as that shows. It's nothing to do with anything other than he decided to drop both of the cases, which he's telling people he spent £60,000 doing. Well, that's a real businessman spending. If it's true, who knows what's true with the man? If it's true that he spent £60,000 doing this to me and the British Masters, that's a real businessman's brain right there. When all I ever wanted was £5 grand he owed me and some royalties for the DVDs. That's it. That's what happened. The old me would have carried on fighting, but I have other people to think about, and life's too short. And that's why I decided to drop it. So today what happened, despite he tries to paint it being is and calling me a con man and whoever doubted our integrity and honesty, all of this rubbish, it's about costs. I've done nothing wrong. And remember, he dropped his case. So that puts the record straight about that BS he put out there. And I know his little fans like Kenny Stenhouse and what's his face, Ronald Jackson and Stephen O'Brien, they'll all be there ass licking, oh, well done, Gary, you're a great man. I don't care about those. There is the same lot as Gary Tomlinson. But for them people that may have read that and thought, oh, what's that all about? And they don't know, that's the record straight. Remember, in his confidential witness statements that he didn't want publishing, he says he's had death threats in the last 12 months. He said that Annette Tomlinson has lost 3 stone in weight as a result of me. He even blamed his accusations on me. All of this crap he was putting in there in the confidential witness statements to the High Court. That's how this man is. He's actually even broke his own promise. He promised on his own son's own life, the equal scumbag, apple doesn't fall from the tree there, Rob Tomlinson. He promised on his own son's life that he'd never mention me again on Facebook. What do you know? He thinks he's had a little victory. He mentions me. He talks about karma. I don't even know if the man really knows what karma is. And it's certainly not spelled C-A-L-M-A-E-R like Rob Tomlinson spelled it. This is how low life and pathetic these people are. He thought, being the bully that he is, that after we had a 70-minute phone conversation back in April 2020, and when my car miraculously got set on fire 70 minutes later, that would shut me up and I'd be the end. Whoever blew up my car on the rack 70 minutes after that conversation. He thought that'd be the end of me. I want any more. And as the infamous Ronald Jackson said, when people stand up bullies, they play the victim. To quote your master's great saying, never was a true word said, because it's true. Gary Tomlinson is an out-and-out bully. I stood up to him. It's cost me. But I stood, and I've made people know exactly what the man's like. Remember, this is a man that's gone to the police twice, the big hard man that sports. It's he's got the Ronald Jackson's. He's distracting me. He's gone to the police twice about Tomo, both times failed. He's tried to put the LPRA about it. He's gone to the courts. Remember, the man got an immediate injunction out about me telling people the truth about him actually taking money off the British masters for a leaflet. This is what the man's like. Paid him, I've paid him, I've paid him. That's all he ever kept saying. Proven himself, he never actually paid me. The man's never had an original idea in his life. Easy payment plan, guaranteeing the prize money, structuring the prize money as it was. All the things that he implemented in 2019, 2020, all as a result of me helping to double his entry. Equal scumbag, apple doesn't fall from the tree, Rob Tomlinson, he's getting a lot of credit for the new exciting things happening. Couldn't be further from the truth. The man doesn't even know what day it is. And don't think that Rob Tomlinson owns it. It was purely an issue that Gary Tomlinson worried I might actually win the case and take some money off him that he owed me in the first place. The man is the biggest con man in pigeon sport as far as I'm concerned. The man is only ever about the money. Forget some shitty old pigeon loss he's given away as a great man he is. Forget the charity work he does. He only ever does that to make himself look better. Forget the Brett Jones deal where he was trying to be the savior of saving that one-off race and paying people out. Gary Tomlinson only ever does anything for him or his family. There's never a win-win with him. It's only ever for him and about him. And that deal, and I know specifically, and you think what you want about Brett, I don't agree with how he's handled it, but let me tell you now, the deal on the table that Tomlinson went and did with 4 other people, mob-handed, typical intimidation stuff, that's why Brett wouldn't meet him. If anybody else had gone down there and done the deal, it would have happened. So he's not the savior of the sport, and the Brett Jones deal didn't happen because it's Gary Tomlinson being Gary Tomlinson. Is he the savior of the sport? No, I think he's a cancer of the sport. I genuinely do. Ask the Sullivan brothers what they think about him. Ask him how many pigeons he actually called in last year's race without telling anybody. It was 81. Then it was 200. Then it was about 130. Well, actually, how many pigeons, the master of pigeons that you are, how many pigeons did you actually have to get rid of? And why did you tell each of the individual owners that own those pigeons that you had to dispose of their pigeons and give them a chance to put a replacement in? And don't think that he's doing you a great favor this year by giving you the reserve bird. Numbers guy. He's paying 50% out. Whatever reserve pigeons is lucky enough to get activated will be extra cherry on top for him. He's banging on about the final being a great result, 70% of the pigeons back. That's because it was a blowout. And that's because you lost most of the pigeons before. He forgets about the 800 pigeons that Hotspot won. Now, that's all right, because he can easily forget. He thinks pigeon people are thick. They'll easily soon forget. But guess what? He lost 800 pigeons. 133,000 pounds of pigeons gone in one hotspot race for 60 miles. But that doesn't matter, Gary Tomlinson, because that's still 85,000 profit in his pocket. And listen, everybody needs to make money. I'm all about that, but there's a way you do it. And what gets me is Gary Tomlinson purports to be the charitable, caring soul. I'll give away a shitty pigeon loft. I'll support this charity. We're all friends in one-off races. There's enough room for everybody. But as soon as another one-off race has any idea he thinks there's any chance of them beating him, bang, he'll stop everything. And he's a compulsive liar because he lied about the British Masters. So he loses 800 pigeons. That's all right. He pockets 85 grand. Ask yourself this, if you're foolish enough to consider entering. What does a two-bird average mean? According to Tomlinson, two-bird average is two birds arriving from the final. When have you ever known a two-bird average to be that in your life? What does the word average even doing in there? What is the word average even doing in there if it's the first two birds to get home? Poor Garrett Hennessy lost out on 2 grand. Tomlinson says he's going to pay it out of his own pocket, or his wife did, to be more precise. Backtracked on it. And let you know, the video that he put out about the two-bird average, he was talking about next year's, not this year's. The man's a scumbag, con man, compulsive liar, flat out. Remember this when you see all the signage he uses at the shows and the roller banners he uses. Never paid a penny for any of that work. Never paid a penny for the website he stole. Never paid a penny for any of the leaflets designed. Never paid a penny. And he still doesn't own the copyright and never will own the copyright to any of the work and any of those logos because he's not paid for it. And that's been proven in court that he's not paid. Hence the cane got thrown out. He wonders why he's only got 270 teams. I heard he was scratching his bold, thick head. We've increased the prize money. We're the most open and honest, transparent out there. Everybody knows it. We're the best one-off race in the UK. I can't figure out why. What do more people want? We can't do any more. The man a big enough ego and is dumb enough to not think maybe the last 12 months have actually hurt me and my reputation. His. Remember, this was all about him paying me 4 or 5 grand. All of it. The problem is there's only one similarity he and I have. We won't let things go. He eventually let it go. I let it go. But in reality, if it's anywhere near what he says it is, it's cost him 60 grand. And he's got nowhere. He doesn't own the copyright. Nothing ever happened. .com's still up there. Nothing's happened. It's cost him all that money when he could have just paid me what he owed me in the first place. And I wouldn't have been a pain in the ass as I have to him for showing what he's like. Instead, over the last 12 months, he's made more enemies in this small sport than he can ever imagine. Like I said to his solicitor, if he genuinely has had death threats, and his solicitor said, yeah, he has, I've heard them from a Liverpudlian type 8. If that's true, then it's like I said, it's to his solicitor. He's got more enemies to worry about than just me then, hasn't he? He's made more enemies in the last 12 months than you can ever imagine, than he'll ever imagine. And I've just shown what he is, really is. His son saying he can get a car blown up for 50 quid, all the other stuff that's on there. That's Tomo.com, the site which he's every which way he can to get took down, not managed to do it. Went to the High Court, dropped the case. The reality is this. As Tomo.com is staying up, that was a joke about $5,000. I thought, you know what, I'll put up there about it's for sale to make a point that actually that's what I was owed. That notice will come down. As Tomo.com is going to stay up there indefinitely. Because the more people that know about this scumbag, real con man, cancer in the pigeon sport that this man and his family are, money grabbing people. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with earning money. But go and look at Ask Tomo about him bidding on pigeons and Mick Pigeon 12 and shadier than shady beyond belief. And then needs an injunction to stop me talking about what money he took off another race about leaflet. The reality is, Ask Tomo.com. I don't know who some of this is. Quickly, somebody says Tomo's a good disgrace to the sport. Sadly, Tomo will never let it go. You should have taken him on all the way for the principal if you could afford it. That's the thing. I don't know who you are, but what's the point? Look at it. What's the point in throwing $2,000 just to get it in the small claims court because his scumbag of a solicitor was rejecting it, to then go and get a judgment for $5,000 to $10,000, that's all it would have been, to then say, oh, you owe me that, to a company that's got a balance sheet of 81 quid. £1 million business. It's took in just short of £1 million, got a balance sheet of £81. So, yeah, you can go with your principles, but do I want another 12, 18 months of having to look at what BS and crap this man says every day and the lies he spouts? No. I haven't had to look. Up until today, people sending me what he said. I haven't had to look at one thing the man said in the last 5 weeks, and it's been great to not see the bold-headed twat spout his shit. The Ask Tomo show. That's what I call it. I had to look at this week's because somebody told me about it. 60 minutes show helping the novice fans. 43 minutes talking about himself in the race. That's the one thing he is transparent about. It's a sales job. Again, man's never had an original idea in his life. I showed him how to do live streaming. I set up a show. What do I know? He falls out. He's doing it. This is the level of a man. Yeah, Ronald Jackson, keep going. Because the funny thing is, your best mate, arse lick a friend, is in exactly the same situation, Ronald Jackson. Sod off. I don't even know how you've got. Oh, you're on YouTube. That's why you can see me. I need to figure a way of blocking you, you idiot. Anyway. Somebody else said, don't know who it is. Sorry. His scum and his son there will be, their day will come with dirt. I'm sure it will. I, unlike him, knows what karma really means. And he can say, quote my own things back at me as much as he wants. He doesn't really get it. Like I said, he's made far more enemies, a lot more worrying than I would ever be to him. Because all I've ever done is shown the man up for what he is. He knows I'm no physical threat or any of that. But if he really has had death threats, which he really didn't want in the public, he didn't. I don't know whether he's embarrassed admitting it, embarrassed that he was making it up or what. It's all there. I don't mind sharing the documents if everybody wants to sit. I'm the reason he went into hospital. Apparently, I've caused him clots on the lungs. I'm the reason his missus has lost 2-3 stone. And he's had death threats as a result of this. Like I said, he's got far more enemies than he could ever hope to have. So if that's the case, it's right. He's got a lot more. I did leave Ronald. Just shut the fuck up, you arse-licking idiot, with nothing else better to do in your time than lick Gary Tomlinson's arse. Go away, you sorry excuse of a man. I'm not saying I didn't leave his number accidentally on the bottom of a British Masters band. Ronald Jackson, get this through your thick head, is that never came into court. That was never the issue. Get your facts right. It was about Vanna being too similar to Gary Tomlinson's banner. That's all it was about, Ronald Jackson. The number being left on the leaflet never came into the court case. It was an accident by me, which was rectified in 45 minutes. I said I didn't leave the number on the court case in question. So get with the program. It was about this banner, the British Masters banner. Very similar design. Took him to court for a very similar design because he got all his mates. I think you might have been one of them. Oh, I'm confused. Do you own part of the British Masters? I think people have entered the British Masters thinking it's the Who Dares wins. Well, if you're with the program, I'm Donald Trump. Ronald Jackson. Get with the program. Anyway, that's what it was about. That. Because of their situation, they are multi-millionaires. He got $8,500 and lied about it. It was about that leaflet, folks. So, anyway, I'm sorry for losing it with Ronald Jackson, but he is a grade A prick. He's the biggest ass licker of Tomlinson there is. And he just winds me up. And I've got to figure a way of him never being able to say another show of mine because the man just winds me up because he's just a dick. Not as big a dick as Tomlinson, but he is a dick. So anyway, he's got his little order for £4,600 that he has to pay scumbag Aaron Wood, great trademark attorney who got his ass kicked on the 15th of June. Good luck with that. I hope it makes you happy. If you have genuinely spent 60 grand this whole thing, more fool you, you great businessman you, when you could have just paid me, swallowed your pride, paid me a few quid for all of the 100-hour work I did, and that would have been that. As Tomo would have never been up, hundreds of people would not have got to know as much about what a crook, con man, scumbag you really are, Gary Tomlinson. And your son, Tomlinson. Just as a general point, and I don't think I've ever said this, Rob Tomlinson did a lot of work at this house. Poorly. Ripped us off left, right and centre. Charged us full days. Was only here for 3 or 4 hours. Did pipes underneath our bathroom floor with cable ties. A complete con man crook. But at the time when I had the 70-minute phone call with him and then 70-minute my car got set on fire, out in my immediate family, there was only 3 other people that knew where we lived because we'd only been in here for a few weeks. My electrician I've known for years, as a really nice guy, local. And Gary and Rob Tomlinson. They're the only 2 people that knew where we lived. My house wasn't anywhere on company's house information. We'd only been in here a few weeks. Just as a general point. Now, of course, Tomlinson, in his great, let's think of a reason why that could be, is that I'd set my car on fire myself. But then, of course, later Rob Tomlinson said he could get a car fired for 50 quid. Wait, I digress. Ronald Jackson, do me and yourself a favour. Don't tune in to a single one of my videos again. I'll figure a way of blocking you on YouTube. You're an arsehole. Go and lick your bald-headed masters' arse and go away. Please. So, the reality is this. That's it. The judge hasn't said I've done anything wrong. He still never paid me a penny. He still doesn't own the copyright for all of this. He doesn't own the copyright for any of the logos, any of the roller banners. The man is a lying scumbag. Never paid me a penny. And that's what it was all about. So, the reality is, I'm done with the scumbag con man family that is Gary Tomlinson. Like I said, he's been exposed for the person he is. He's been exposed to a lot more other people and other organizations for what he is and he's about than he can ever. And he's made enemies. People a lot nastier than I'll ever be. And I don't think he's smart enough to know how much his pride and ego have actually harmed his reputation in the last 12 months after he lied about the British Masters and all of that. So, life's too short. He can go and enjoy his Who Dares wins while it lasts. Meanwhile, I'm looking forward to Doncaster's show this weekend. I'm having 2 days off, boys, and I'm looking forward to getting on my life without the scumbag conman lying son of a bitch that is Gary Tomlinson featuring in it. I don't have to think about the idiot anymore. I don't have to look at the BS and lies he's saying. I don't even have to look at the bold twat ever again. Oh, he'll be at Doncaster show. He'll be at Blackpool show, pitching his great race. I don't care about any of that. At least I don't have to see him online, go and watch his BS live shows anymore, or any of that. I'm done. I'm done with it. It's great. It's quite liberating. He can go and enjoy the $5,000 he never ever paid me. And he can go and crack on with his life. He can go and crack on with his crappy race and being the best race in the UK. Life's too short to deal with assholes in your life. And Gary Tomlinson is one of the biggest wannabe bully assholes there is. Simple as that. If you want to see when you don't know about all this crap, go and check it out. AskTomo.com. That site is staying up indefinitely. The more people that know what a lying, combatant, scumbag family Gary Tomlinson and his family and everything around it, the better. In retrospect, I should have perhaps carried on, but life's too short to deal with a prick. It is what it is. Move on. And today really draws the line for me. I don't care that he's going to be at shows. I don't care. The man does not warrant a single minute of my time anymore. It's on record, all the problems I've had. That's fine. Life's too short to deal with assholes. And I'm done with them. I'm going to enjoy Doncaster's show. I'm looking forward to Blackpool show, and I enjoy helping my son Zandy with his pigeon racing, which is at the end of the day what it's all about. I'm avoiding dealing with people that take you and bleed you for all that they can and then just leave you. Let me give you one last piece of advice. If you think Gary Tomlinson's a great guy, wait until he doesn't need you anymore or you don't pay him any money. Then see how it is. So remember this. I'm going to go now, crack on, walk my dogs, get on life. Life's too short to have an asshole like Gary Tomlinson in your life. And I'm glad today means I don't have him in my life anymore. Yeah, I never got any money out of him. Karma genuinely is a bitch. And his time will come, I'm sure. He's got an £81 balance sheet on a company that's nearly done in pounds in turnover. He's got to register with DEFRA next year. How's he going to get Irish pigeons in? They've got to go through quarantine. Who's paying for that? And a whole bunch more things. Plus, like I said a few times, he's made 4 enemies in the last 12 months that you can ever imagine. And I'm not talking about me. People that have seen him for what he really is. So yeah, karma is a bitch and it'll get him. And I can just sit back and wait for the day that I hear that it's got him. Karma is a bitch. In the meantime, I'm going to go and enjoy my life, get on with my businesses, enjoy my family, help my son race his pigeons, and crack on. Thank you for watching. I've set the record straight. I won't vow on my son's life like Gary Tomlinson did on his son's life that he'd never mention me again. I won't say that because you never know what the prick will do. But I really do hope that the scumbag leaves it alone, leaves me alone, leaves my family alone, my property and my livestock and animals alone, just goes off and does whatever one-man bullshit scumbag thing he does, continues to lie and crack on with his life, because I'm looking forward to my life not having the man in it, any part of it. Don't have to think about the scumbag anymore. And that's a good feeling. Thanks for watching. Go and ask tomo.com if you want. If you really enjoy it, you can lose hours there seeing what the man's talking about. Catch you later.